Hi there, I'm Nancy Smith, the Yarny Bookkeeper, and I'm here today to talk to you about how to use the Handmade product pricing and cost of goods sold calculator. Now, since about 2014, there have been many versions of this calculator. I created it initially for me to use in my own handmade business, and over the years, it has just grown and changed. So this calculator is designed for handmade product sellers who want to understand what an item actually costs to make and choose a selling price that covers more than just the yarn, fabric, clay, beads, or other supplies. Because as much as we might wish otherwise, adding up our materials and multiplying by 3 is not always a complete pricing strategy. So the worksheet or workbook has 3 different tabs. You have your Start Here tab, where you can come and watch this video on YouTube. Defines the difference between markup and margin. Gives you a link to help you figure out how to calculate your fair hourly wage, and also tells you how to get in touch with me. The actual calculator is in both a landscape and a portrait mode. So you can figure out, which one is easiest for you to work with. So before you begin, make sure that you make your own copy of the workbook, and please don't type into this original template. The landscape version gives you up to 8 spaces to enter different colored yarns and 14 different parts or sections. Okay, this is really handy if you are doing amigurumi like I do. Okay, the portrait version is a little more compact. Okay, it allows for 6 different yarn colors, and again, you have places for body parts or sections. Alrighty. You don't need to use both. Pick one layout and use the sheet that works best for you. Over here on the right-hand side, it tells you what your color codes are. All right. In where you enter your information. Now, really, you're going to be entering your information in these pink cells and these super light green cells. These darker greens, well, they're formulas, and they're all protected, all right, to help prevent accidental spreadsheet destruction, because nothing ruins a productive afternoon quite like accidentally replacing a formula with the number 7. So let's start working in the actual spreadsheet. So you can enter the project name, and this section is just optional. But if you want to keep a permanent record of the price for a specific item, this is really going to come in handy. So you would type in your project name. If you want to keep information about if you're a maker, you may want to know who the designer was. You can even put in their website. You can put in the pattern price. Now, I will tell you, when you put a pattern price up here, it's for informational use only, okay? So if you plan on making more than one of these items, and you just want to remember how much you paid for the pattern, you can put it there. If you are doing a custom order and you had to purchase the pattern, and you want to include that in the cost, you would come down here and you would put it in the other sections or other cost section. So, and note what it was. All right, so, and you do want to enter not only a cost, but a retail amount, okay? And you notice as soon as, and I'm getting a little ahead of myself, but you notice as soon as you entered that $7 cost for the pattern for a custom item, it comes up here and it puts it in cost of goods sold. All right, and it already starts calculating a sell price. You can put in the hook size that you used. You can put in a finished size. You can put in notes about your yarn, okay? So this is just all things that have to do with this particular product. This information is helpful when you want to save a completed calculator for a specific product and refer back to it later. For example, you might save one copy for a crocheted dinosaur, another for a knitted hat, and another for the blanket that it took approximately 6 years and your last nerve to finish. Okay, yeah, I know that was a little crazy. So when you come down, these are the materials that you're actually using. So if you have like a burgundy yarn, white, cream, and black. Okay, you put those yarn colors here, and you'll notice that they come right down here into this yarn costs total. Pretty cool. All formulas, and that's why I've protected this. So let's say we use the burgundy for the skirt, and we used, you're going to want to choose one yardage to use, whether it's yards or ounces or grams, and you want to use that consistently, okay? And there are instructions over here on the right-hand side that kind of tell you what things are, okay? So let's say we used 5 ounces of burgundy and on the skirt, and we also used an ounce of white, and then we had the body of the amigurumi, and that was all in cream, and let's say we used 10 ounces. Yeah, I'm just pulling stuff out of my head here, okay? And then we have the hair, and that used 8 ounces, okay? So now you can see that those amounts automatically transferred down here into this cost section under the specific color. So now you're going to put in a price, a cost price per yard, ounce, gram, whatever. So let's say it was 10 cents for the burgundy was our cost. That's what we paid for it. But if we had to go out and replace that yarn today, it was going to cost us 12 cents. So now you can see it's tallying up the total cost for the amount that we used, and it's providing a total replacement cost for replacing the amount that we used. Now I'm just going to put in amounts for the other colors. Now the black, yeah, black is always more expensive. Okay, so now we have total yards or ounces or grams that we used. We're going to have our total yarn cost, okay, which is the total amount of these items added together. We have our other cost, which is our pattern price, and that gives us $9.50 or 56 cents for our total cost of goods sold. Okay, and now you come up here in the top, you can see it put that 956 right up here in COGS, which is we're going to use for our bookkeeping amount. Okay, so that's the total materials and other direct costs that you're going to remove from inventory to record as cost of goods sold when the item is sold. We have our replacement value of the materials that we used at retail, which is used in pricing. So now we just got to add in our time to make, which let's say it took us 2 hours, and we're going to shoot for a fair hourly wage of 12. Now, if you're having trouble figuring out what your fair hourly wage is, get my fair wage calculator. The link is on that Start Here page. But now you can see, it's doing all that math for you. Now, you can change your business overhead percent. All right, it's usually anywhere from 5 to 20%. So go ahead and play around with that number. I just put 10 in here because it's kind of, middle of the road. It gives you the dollar value of your business, what that 10% in business overhead is. You can also put in your desired profit markup. All right. So that's an additional percentage you want the business to earn after materials, labor, and overhead are covered. And again, that's usually, that same 5 to 20%. You can change this. So if you wanted to do 20, enter it, and it recalculates everything for you. All right, so I'm just going to put this back to 10. So then it tells you the dollar value that represents your desired profit. It gives you a base price, which equals the replacement value of your materials plus labor plus business overhead plus the desired profit. You get a wholesale price. Now, this is the amount that your business needs to receive from the retailer to cover everything. You can change your retail percent. Okay. And now 50% is usually, pretty good. But you can play with that. Here's your gross profit after your cost of goods sold. Here's your gross profit margin. And this is the amount that is available per production hour after expenses. Now, and it gives you a suggested selling price of $82.75. Now, there's other pricing methods here, all right? So here's the good old materials times 3, materials times 4, materials at retail times 3, materials at retail times 4. If you want to do a flat rate per yard, like if you wanted to do 15 cents a yard, well, or an ounce or whatever. So you've got 24 yards. I'm going to multiply that by 15. There's your price. Here's materials at retail, etc. So if you weren't really thrilled with charging $82.75 for this item, you get to test your own price. All right. So let's take the highest one here, which is $38.24, which is materials at cost times 4. So you can put that in here in that price you want to test, and it will tell you, okay, so this is how much money, if you sell it for $38.24, there's only going to be 71 cents available after materials. You're only getting a 2% markup on cost and a 2% profit margin. Now that's a good way to go broke. So down here at the bottom, we've got a couple of little charts, which is brand new. Okay. So this shows you how your tested price breaks down, which isn't good. Okay. And here you've got a little chart comparing pricing options. Now this works the same way in both calculators. And I believe that's it. So all in all, this is a very versatile and very strong pricing calculator because it gives you your actual cost of goods sold amount so that you don't have to try and remember that, or it's everything all in one place. Now, this calculator can't decide what your market will pay, guarantee a particular profit, or make every handmade item suitable for wholesale. But what it can show you is the numbers behind your product. It helps you see what materials actually cost, what replacing them will cost, what your production time is worth, how overhead and profit affect the price, and whether a proposed selling price covers the business, and whether the product can support a retailer's margin. You still have to make the final pricing decision, but now you can make that decision with actual information instead of crossing your fingers, multiplying the yarn by 3, and hoping that the bookkeeping fairies sort it out later. And that's how you use the Handmade product pricing and cost of goods sold calculator. If you have questions, shoot me an email, Nancy@yarnybookkeeper.com, and I hope this calculator is helpful. Thanks. Bye.